Hello, today I'll be showing you how to Photoshop babies' heads on adult faces, or vice versa, adult faces on babies' bodies. So we want to start by opening Photoshop CS3, and I already have the photo in my download, so I will be dragging my photo into Photoshop. Don't worry about this. This is nothing, just some color schemes, but it's all good. So what I want to do before I start is I want to be able to edit this photo. To do that, I have to delete the lock, as I just did. Now I am also going to duplicate the layer, just in case I screw up. And I can't go back all the way to fix it. So I duplicate the layer, just in case. Now we want to switch the heads between the father and the child. So what we do is we start by zooming up on the head of the child. We want to make sure our layer is selected that has both the father and child in it. We're going to use what is called the magic wand tool. Now the magic wand tool also selects the area that the layer is selected on. So this allows us to change the different sizes of it, or the different diameter, and what we want to do is we just want to click the area on what we want to select and change. So, as you can see, I selected the child's head. And now, this is called the lasso tool, and the lasso tool will be used to help me copy the layer, so now I have just that selected layer. There is no background to this layer, so if I get rid of the two, it'll just be the baby's head, which will allow me to edit and move it around. Now if we go down to the father, we see that his head is too big, so what we want to do is we want to hit the zoom tool, and we want to hit fit screen. So now we're going to left click and zoom up onto the face. We hit our magic wand tool again, and we want to make sure we are on the layer that has both the father and child on it. We want to select its head, and it will automatically select most parts of it, only because there's a different color scheme between the white background and the shirt. We want to make sure that everything that we want is selected before we continue, otherwise it will be harder for us later on in the process of switching the faces. Now as you can see, when I zoom out and I get rid of the two layers, it is nothing but the father and child's face. Each layer is separate, so before we go any farther, I make a duplicate of each layer, just in case I mess up and I can't go back. I always want to it's always good to have double. So now the first thing we want to do is we want to hit our magic lasso tool. We want to hit the right button and go down to what is called free transform. Free transform allows us to move that selected area, which we have selected before, as it was the baby's head, and move it wherever we wish to. We can also change the size of it. We want to go down into what is called flip horizontally. When we flip horizontally, now it's backwards, but as you can see, the baby's head is still looking down, which we do not want. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to actually turn the head, so that it is looking up, just like the father before it. And now what I'm doing is I'm just adjusting the size, because the head is too small in itself. So I'm adjusting it over and making sure that the head fits on the neck and chin of the father. That seems close enough, and I hit my accept, so then as you can so I can go back and zoom. As you can see, it is not the same, but don't worry, we will go back and change it so that it matches with the neck of the father. Now we hit our zoom, we want to go to full screen. Now we want to zoom up on the child's head after we select the father's head that we made earlier, that section. We're going to move the father's head, and notice how it's still looking up. It doesn't look right. So what we do is we do the flip horizontally, and then we want to turn it down so it's the same direction as the baby's face. Now what I'm just doing is I'm just focusing, making sure it's the right size, and then trying to angle it so that the back of the neck connects where the back of the spine would be on the baby. I know that the neck is actually going over the shoulder and onto part of the hand, but don't worry, we will get rid of that soon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase part of the neck so it looks like the head is connected to the child. So I dragged the layer that we have just got over with, which was the head, and I actually put it underneath the main layer, which has the baby on it. And my layer of the father's head and over the baby's is still selected, but I am just going to hit the eraser. The tool I have just selected is called the eraser. It can change all different types of diameters, just like the lasso tool or the magic wand tool. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm just erasing around the shoulders. And then I bring the head back up so I can see where I can erase the rest of the head that is not needed. That seems close enough. I'm erasing part of the baby's neck. Now I'm going to the baby's head, just to erase a little bit underneath the chin. Now what I want to do is I want to get rid of the remains on our main layer, which is the full image. And I want to get rid of the two heads that you can see behind the father and the child's new layer heads. So what I want to do is I use what is called the eyedropper tool, which is shaped like an eyedropper, and it selects any area, color that you click on. So now I'm grabbing what is called the paintbrush tool, and I'm going over the image, part of the image, where the heads are. I'm not getting rid of the whole thing, because otherwise I will be erasing most of the body, which we do not want. We just want to get rid of the head. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try to make these two colors match of the baby's head and the father's neck. What I just did there is I'm going to duplicate layers. Like I said earlier, I'd rather have a duplicate than screw up and have to start all over again. So what I've selected is the eraser tool, and I'm selecting the one that looks like a fading star, because that one will give a slightly faded effect on